We interrupt our normal programming to take you back to the premises of the late former First Lady Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, where a delegation from the National Democratic Congress, led by their chairman, is there to commiserate with the family. My colleague Mausa, the leadership of Parliament, has also arrived at the house to commiserate with the family. My colleague Fauzu Masaudu is there and takes over from me here in the studio. Fauzu, tell us what's happening.
Hi, Eno, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Okay, all right, so if you can hear me, we are still coming to you live.
Former President of the Republic of Ghana, Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, where a number of notable persons have to be away here to commiserate with the day. Presently, the leadership of Parliament, some members of Parliament have made their way here to perform, function. The leadership from both
caucuses. We can talk about, from the minority side, I see Madam Patricia PG, Deputy Minority Leader. I see the majority side, I see the majority leader himself and Member of Parliament for Boko Central, Honorable Mohammed Yariga.
A number of others within the leadership of the House of Legislature. But before they got here, the leadership of the governing National Democratic Congress have also made their way here. They are seated already, led by the party's national chairman, Johnson Asiedu Intesia. So we are waiting for the leadership of Parliament and the members of the House to officially enter the inner, perimeter of the premises of the residence of the late former First Lady Konadu
Agyeman-Rawlings, whose passing was announced yesterday while receiving treatment at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, formerly the Ridge Hospital. A number of notable figures. Oh, yes, the minority leader and member of parliament for Ifutu, Alexander Afenyomaken, just joined his colleagues to also commiserate with the bereaved family. They are having a few discussions. We want to understand as to how they can, enter the place and other necessary arrangements as members of the family, the late, Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings' family, are already seated with the head of the family, Nana Oheneba Akwesi Abeye, also from the Menchia Palace. It's largely a solemn atmosphere with a curious media who are keeping their tabs on what there is to report as regards the passing of the former First Lady, the longest serving, for that matter, Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, who served in both military regime and civilian rule. However, all four children are seated here with the head of family as well. It's been a busy day, just a day after the announcement of the passing of the former First Lady Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. Presently, in the background, if you can hear, it's an official introduction of leadership of the National Democratic Congress, who are already seated. If they got here just a minute or two before the leadership of Parliament and also some members of Parliament also joined. They are still, waiting at the outer foyer, if you like, of the residence of the late former First Lady Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. Hopefully they'll be seated and then we'll go through the necessary tradition as custom demands, and then we'll see if we can have any of them to share a word or two. Just so you know, a while ago, the Member of Parliament for Tamale South,
Minister for Education, Haruna is also here. And the camera is able to Yoga, if the camera is able to live, except the leadership of Parliament number. Yeah. The majority leader, member of Parliament for Boku Central, Honorable Hassan. I beg your pardon, Honorable Muhammad Yarega, the minority leader, member of Parliament for City Central, Honorable Daniel Martin, also see Comfort Area City, member of Parliament for Adam, also a leader on the majority side of the House. Yes, so presently they are entering the inner perimeter of the residence. There's an area that has been brought to, protocol. So they are exchanging pleasantries with the family, all four present, and other relatives of the former First Lady, Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. So yes, I said, Member of Parliament for Bawi, Honorable Jerry Ahmed Sahib, is also the deputy minority, second deputy minority secretary. So we are really here in their numbers to communicate with a figure who has largely been described as an iconic figure, Islamic political line. Many have described it as a yardstick for essentially the justice, giving the passion towards the driving women empowerment, sparking
conversation about educating the girl child, and how integral she was during her husband, the late Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings' reign as president, both in the military regime and the civilian rule. So if you are watching us live on Channel 1 television or listening to us on City 97.3 FM, the big story is that Ghana's longest serving First Lady, Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, has departed, and a number of individuals, both government officials, a section of the public, and what have you, have made their way here at the residence in Accra to commiserate with the family. It's been a busy day, so yes, they are going around to exchange pleasantry. I see Madam Patricia PJ, Deputy Minority Leader, presently also. Yes, I also see Member of Parliament for Wija Bawi, Honorable Jerry Ahmed Sahib, and the rank and file of both sides of the House of Legislature. We know how Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, while she was alive, how ubiquitous she was. I mean, there was barely a day, you would not find her there in the house, in Parliament, during any national event, talk about budget reading, and other functions. Madam Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings was usually found somewhere in the gallery there, or the spaces designated for important figures like her, yes, supporting. So yeah, we are still coming to you live from the residence of the late former First Lady, Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. Yes, I see Honorable Okuvanda-Poe, Member of Parliament for Ablekuma South, who also served as mayor, former mayor or Metropolitan Chief Executive for the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, a very popular one for that matter. They are all here in their numbers, and when we talk about Okuvanda-Poe, he has a history with the Rawlings family, particularly Jerry John Rawlings, but that will be a conversation for another day perhaps. The news is that former First Lady Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings is no more, and the entire nation is mourning. Yes, I just spotted Member of Parliament for West Central and Minister for Employment, Jobs and Labour Relations, Honourable Dr. Rashid Pelpu, exchanging pleasantry presently with leadership of the governing National Democratic Congress, the umbrella fraternity, are here in their numbers also to commiserate following the passing of the spouse or founder of their party, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. It's been a busy day here, and we've been keeping our tabs, bringing you all there is to know on this recent development. It's quite a long queue, if you ask me. Yes, the members of parliament are still trickling in their numbers, entering the inner perimeter of the residence of the late former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, whose passing was announced yesterday while receiving treatment at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. Largely solemn atmosphere, a moment of reflection and what have you. Earlier, Reverend Dr. Lawrence Tete, popular, man of God, was also here, who shared a few words of consolation to the bereaved family. Member of Parliament for Tamale South was also here a while ago, Honorable Haruna Idrisu. And one thing that has been running all through the eulogy or the tributes that have been pouring in for the former First Lady was her dedication, towards empowering women, being an active, force in Ghana's political landscape, championing conversations of national development, and what have you. They say if there is any woman to look up to in politics, out of one, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings is most likely to be one. So yes, members of parliament have made their way here at the residence of the late former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings to perform what has been happening all day, commiserating with the bereaved family. So just so you know that both leaders of the majority and the minority caucus are all here. And we see the majority leader and member of parliament for Boko Central, Mahama Ayariga, here. Also the member of parliament for Efutu and minority leader, Honorable Alexander Apenyo Maken, also here to commiserate with the bereaved family. It's a nation in grief, really. Earlier, when the Busuapinian spoke, he said that, and then of course, one of her daughters, a member of parliament for Konadu, and she alluded to the fact that, but for Nana Konadu's, relatively old age, which is 76, this would have largely been described as a shock, given the fact that just a day before her demise, the former First Lady was active and even attended a public event, only for them to wake up the next morning and to be hit by this sad news. But all in all, to the fact that death is indeed inevitable, it is that visitor who keeps gate crashing. You would never, it doesn't come pre-announced, yes. So they are finding solace in this entrenched part of our existence as humans. Again, if you just tuned in to Channel 1 TV or City 97.3 FM, we are still coming to you live from the residence of the former First Lady, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, who passed away yesterday at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital while receiving treatment. A number of notable figures and a section of the public have all been here to commiserate with the family, but presently is the leadership of the National Democratic Congress, funded by the party's national chairman, Johnson Asiodun Kitsia, popularly known as General Mosquito, who, of course, worked closely with the Rawlings family, precisely former President Jerry John Rawlings and his wife, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, who are both no more with us. In a third, we'll be hearing from them, the leadership of the NDC, and of course, leadership of the House of Legislature, who have also joined in here. The residents commiserate with the bereaved family.
On your behalf, ask the chairman of the party to make his intervention before
as announced, we will be hearing officially from leadership of the governing National Democratic Congress, but now presently is the head of family speaking to officially welcome the delegation present here. The head of the family, Oheneba Akwesi Abeye, and of course from the Menchia Palace, is speaking. We want to pick that sound.
Under normal circumstances, we wouldn't see all of you here. And something really significant must have triggered you leaving house. I'm not sure whether you were being chased by a big elephant. No pun here. But I would like that your chairman kindly stands up so that the majority leader, obviously, the majority leader understands it here. Honorable majority leader, you've now delegated your shoes to him. That's right. So, Majority Chief Whip. Thank you very much. You now tell us your mission.
Yo, Abusi Apenyi, on behalf of the Speaker of Parliament, the entire leadership of Parliament, and the clerk to Parliament, as well as the head of the Parliamentary Service, we are here out of the tragedy that has befallen us unexpectedly. We are here to commiserate with you. So we would need to extend condolences to the family. We are also shocked by what happened, especially because our mother was in the news on Wednesday.
Hello? Acho Hanyadi, please. Let's have some quiet, please. Let's have some quiet.
Especially because our mother was in the news on Wednesday. To hear this on Thursday, it was shocking. So I would hand over the mic to the majority leader, the leader of the delegation, to So, but the tradition is that on occasions like this, you need to come and ascertain the veracity or otherwise of what has been.
Would get back to Bushapeni to find out whether or not what we have heard is indeed true. Thank you. Let me thank
the majority chief whip, and to say that yesterday in Parliament we had a very important business of the Committee on Security and Intelligence to meet and plan the consideration of a very important bill that has been laid in the House. The chairperson of that committee happens to be our own colleague, the Honorable Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. We had assembled to work when we received the message that our chairperson was unable to join us because she had an emergency. And so that got us very worried. What was the nature of the emergency? So we decided that given that our chairperson had an emergency, we had to postpone the meeting. And we postponed the meeting. Later in the day, we saw reportage on social media and later by some traditional media houses regarding what the emergency was. We did not believe it. We were shocked. And so we could not even really sit in the House yesterday. We promptly adjourned proceedings and decided that we wanted to proceed here immediately yesterday afternoon to ascertain the veracity of what we had heard. And when we had assembled to hasten to this house, we were told that the family was immediately unavailable to receive us. So we rescheduled to come here to find out exactly if what we had heard is indeed what had transpired. And so today again, we curtailed proceedings and we're here, all the members of Parliament who attended sitting today, both the majority and the minority. So before us here, the NDC members of Parliament and the NDC members of Parliament, led by myself and my colleague, the minority leader, and the entire leadership, and then the second deputy speaker, because our speaker is out of the jurisdiction, and the first deputy speaker is out of the jurisdiction, and the clerk is also out of the jurisdiction. So his deputies are here to represent him. So Parliament is here to hear from the family if indeed what we heard is what actually happened. That is what has brought us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Indeed, your very presence here, the whole of the House of Parliament, your very presence here, indicates the enormity of what has happened or befallen our nation. It's without Her Excellency Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings was a rare in this country. As you said, the committee of which her first daughter, Senator, meeting yesterday up because of an emergency. An emergency, indeed it was. Of your colleague has already said, on Wednesday, and she attended prayers. She attended the burial service of her aunt, Mrs. Ifa. Those of you who were able to watch the telly have seen that she was sitting very close to His Excellency ex-President before, and others. So nothing could have hinted us that she was in any kind of distress. As usual, in her normal, vivial form, she went round greeting everybody. And then we dispersed. In the early hours of yesterday, however, as the Senator explained to me when she beckoned me to come, she felt rather unwell and was, as it were, rushed to the Rich Hospital, which is very close to her residence. The doctors there did their best, and by their report to me when I visited them, they did their best. All the talent, medical talent at Rich Hospital was assembled for her survival. But unfortunately, if there's one dispute we humans cannot fight with God or Allah, it is at the point of death. It's at the point of death when the Creator shows his might, and Nana succumbed to her Creator. It was a very, very, very difficult situation. We had no choice but to immediately inform His Excellency the President of the Republic, who quickly summoned us to come to his office. So I led the delegation of the children, plus Kenebemrolate, to Jubilee House and duly informed His Excellency the President. I also made sure that Anakunedu's own Otufo Asantine, His Majesty Otufo Osetutu the second Asantine, was also immediately informed of what had happened. His Excellency the President assured us that he would cause a public statement to be made so that the whole nation would be notified of the bereavement that has befallen us. This he did, and as you all heard, the news got round and literally shook the rudiments of this country. We are most grateful for your visit. We have, since this morning, received various visits, including that of the ex-president Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his delegation who were here this morning. We understand from His Excellency President before that he will also be here around 5 o'clock. Absolutely no doubt. We also had a visit from the former head of state of Liberia, Her Excellency Ellen Sirleaf Johnson. So you can see that obviously it hasn't ended. Nana Konadu was not only a national figure, she was a global figure of repute. The embodiment of womanhood, the embodiment of the welfare of the downtrodden, of children. Ensure that not only did we pay lip service to the weaknesses and deficiencies of our women and children, but got it enshrined in Law 111, intestate succession law. Formidable. So we will definitely let Parliament know when the program is finalized of the arrangements for her departure. No doubt the government will take part. No doubt NDC will be well represented. I need not remind those of you in the NDC political party that the foundations of your party were established by Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings and her late husband. The foundation which has kept you going and being represented in Parliament. So in a nutshell, we are grateful for your presence to join us in mourning this great woman. And may her soul continue to rest in peace. Thank you very much and welcome.
Leader, it's been confirmed that the story we heard is true. And so on this note, we want to now convey our deepest condolences to the family. Leader, Minority Leader, if I have your permission, Parliament will want to ask that in the planning, you consider one of us to be a part of the planning committee so that we can communicate. The communication between the family and Parliament for purposes of the planning and all logistical arrangements, Parliament will be in the know. Speaker, unfortunately, is unavailable. We are certain that when he returns, Speaker himself will come and pay his condolences to you. Leader, with your leave, if the Minority Leader have a word.
Acha. Pacho Ochamio Mesrena Makasaka. Pacho said ya majority chief whip, Idi Kankan. Yensusu, Yani Yenuanum, majority for Yeniomo and a war parliament. Almost a super majority. By Yensusu, no, the CNTS, by a mighty minority. Now, as I say, I to yenua ba yentumi ma omunko a emba mane yeyi politics na ye no ye kire ya dwen na efie wona ye wo no ye busua baako ye maame no waba besum oman Ghana sa first lady ekwenwa no oma emu ye du obi adi wan dance yesusu no yete Beijing conference no ne emba no kan emba asem ne duku a obo ochre emba de beya ye bekata ye hu no front ma me gidi se emma bebre sua bibi efri no ho nti ye ma ye kasa ye tenten no ye edom kuma bibi se no ye si ye ne yenuanom eba ye ba no nso deputy minority leader okaho bi ye deputy first second deputy whip okaho bi ena second deputy speaker mpanyinfo we nyina no mo ka dom kuma no ye ho ena ye ka sa super majority for no ho ena ya bebechia nti ye stress enhihye bia ebusua mo ye no monkai se politics na ye de nanso asem we si a eye Ghana na asem ato no nti ye nyina ye ka ho bi ne kwakra no ye nua ba ye ma ne yakọ wa bin papa efie wona ye te no oni ye nyina ate yi nti ye ntumi nka se ato ne maame a ono nko a ndi awerho nyame ncheche ne re na onje ne nan so na me gidi se obo ade a obo ye nyina na onim ye mbre a ewo ye nim no wa hyehye na ade dada nti no ye bebo mpa ya ma no na edwuma a oye ewo amanyose mu no onyankopon aboa no ama netumi aye ne yie enye ono nko a ne nuanom a eka no ho ye ma omu nyina ya akọ ye stress nyankopon ebe ma omu akukuduru a betumi akra abrewa no nechi kama na ono nso enwu se ba odi omu ba wi ase no omu so ahye n'enyonyam me sorry ewo dom kuma edimu a ene ochiame kakra yeso ye wono no monsampa
Kasa for so as said okay. So asana parliamentary as mebado na NDC national chairman Owura Johnson Atiedu Nketia so na woni ni penfo aba sa weye Mr. Mohamoti yo sema ape mote yo say the make no owura fanyo market na mo mai no na owura sedu
Presidente Anoho, Mr. Lucy, now what's the far, you were down. Yeah, my yourself. If you really mistake, you know what I'm going to say. If there is a war or more than Kumenwa, you know, mobile. My business is a Ura, I'm a place Yama, a second deputy. And I'm sure, yeah, mammy, about Penny, Patricia, TV,
na me hwɛ Jerry Ahmed me we fi sɛ me first Habib Idrisu Tolon MP Owomechi na chief whip for no omusuban sɛ de tie no manhwɛ na man ya de ni yi a ekonnwa na mete so no obetumi asan mase nti no omuhu ye hu papa ɛno nti no mesrɛ ɔno na me wie fi yɛ nti PT minority whip Owomechi nti mesrɛ me yi na kyɛ ne me MPs akodro na ɔmo wɔ ekyi me da se
Mama, Mama Supaka, said the Mekano, Parliamentary from my Ura Johnson, I said, look at you, yet not chairman of NDC. Now, a bar near the Diamania, and on one can't say, Yay, na Momex, Namuvia, Wakasenti, chairman, Madame Druso.
Avenue in Fraye, yo, Abusha Chame, Bitiama Busha Funinati. Se Muhu Meha. Any NDC Penifua. No crave woman say, Nanka any MP4 no neighbor, and say traffic situations in the May and ye kind. A jaw. Na said the chairman no de kind. Enra, Yan Tiasemode. Na me wo Keta. And the Ademi call Keta and say, you found a wee no. And feel no super penny. And think up 15th. Ever yet na ye a mamma so traditional funeral. Na ye ne ma any party panifuni na campum say. Ever yet sa a year no. Let's just say a jano quite cry. Indeed, the Ademi no na. Sa a year no hon to ya, Nanka mene anglo abusian for Equa Cohenia to Tono. Na face so Masaye, Mia Majumaka, a year ports and harbors, a year port to be war, Keta or not, Yaho. Inti meeting no Siana, Omo Frey, Eka say, Assembly, a sea. And I'm sure and you're not correct. Tiomo. Me till one I'm afraid Larry Ebisano said the meeting in at the same and also me man quite now on checking out on sign frame till one or friend say I am part. I said the human tiano wouldn't me and none a duo. And now, Okase, O Kamuas, O Ponehon Kakra, so our programs are Yoko in Abese. And the anemia tramusa, Evie. And Tiano Pai, maybe drew and I'm afraid, Honorable Zanato said, the Yatini, and the General Secretary so to quite, and the May Bois, Party Fuano, na Yakan, MPs no, na Yaba Bechiao. And not see you, but I said 3 o'clock or now. I'm a home. Indeed, and one who boy near ya the abba. Now, the Asinu de Yamia Quine will be anti-asia into a bar never say Fanasa. When the ma, Assisi, Nansaya, the decay 30 years here. Ye Beijing conference ya na maame Konadu die ni mu ko no emfie aduasa pepe peni nti almost I free ade no ye 30 years plus Beijing 30 years plus afia so ya wo hwa Mami Konadu ne General Secretary ano 31st December General Secretary Yenuaba Cecilia Johnson also ebe say na otwebe miensa ni na ono so efrimo until last week ye ne nabusuafo no te ho a ye no ho ntotoye na ye hwe delegation ebeba abebo Mami Konadu amane na we swaba besi enti sabre ye wa ho hia mu pa say Mame no ono wo ho a ono nso na be 15 fu no a ye kwa akoye founder na ye no wo keta no mini ha me ba na o ma fixe abusanfo fixe no nso anti CCD no na no so akohia the same 15th. Entinura ye call meeting Branda na si na dia na ACC a yente ase de na ayi kase mienu sa ni nyina acting from different angles akohia se ne nim se de to so miensa so kura ba bebo entinya mi anim ni nura yete ye no na akoye bibia yete ase a enye na enyame akwai timejina party no nyina na mu adma abusua nyina yakọ yenua ma no ne menua kemati no nyina mamu yakọ na de aba nyina no enyame akwai obi ani ho a obetimi akyerase na dia sinu said the mechame no dika aka no asem kese ma o my Ghana no nyina NDC Mame no kan ho ne eti NDC ko no dum sa chire okote party foforo de ba history wo ho de ehunu se o kan ho ne eti ko no pa enti party no ahwedade o my Ghana so ubia magana wabedi first lady 19 years this is Mami Konadu kwa enti eno so asemo aba no ato Ghana manyina eno nti mefe se minua afenyo ene minority for aba bekan ho mese se Ghana manyina yenka mom na enidia ese efata no yemfanya Mame no kwai na asibe ma be ono so enu ti ase o ka se be ma be bia o se ka se oba be bi on pe se be ka se be ma be bi enti nipa be bi na wa me ni nya mi giri se de nipa ba ko betimi aye adura ena okoye duriye enti na yehunu se ene abusua nyina entrance sisi de fene se party akese mienu nyina ye nyina hunu se yaye President Akufo-Addo babako President Kofo enam kwan so a oba President Mahama ono so age ye na sinina so a what declare 3 days of mourning ni ade ade nti ebesese diaka ene yene ebeye ho planning no besese yenyina yemfa abutre na ubia esese ne die wo mu no oka ho yenyina nka mbom ni nya Mame no kwai na afofra wo sub region no so wo mo fa ensua ade say Council of Elders chairman or no so free meeting say brother yenhia ne hwe kwan a ye de sa asem kase ebe faso enti mejina party no nyina na mu ama busua nyina yakọ na ya hye moden ne aka kire mo say Yena and Yenya, and unti a year a home to Yena. No, that's where war director, welfare director, or Yamencha de Onusu free Asante, and Obeka Bushaho. Na said the Beya, you beat me at me at to be Biana Yakuja, Mamma Quai. Nijidi say yene council phone here. Ye be who say ye be a keta ye no yenye no den yentin say ana ebeko ne abere we Cecilia Johnson de yenye no den nijidi say ye betimi atranse ya plan ne sa ne ba no nyina na de ese ye de to no ye de ato nti ebeda mu nyina ase avenue Omo introduce me no omo jam post back come acting national chairman of MPP. Okay. We acting chairman. Never buy one. Enti abusafo ebeda mu nyina na nyame mfa ye ma me no kra ensie ye edamot.
Yo, I was happy. Anka, the chairman, I can say, Nanka, I can say, but whom be make me dick and Casano. The ball, me leadership, Nina, and see, let me say, a wound here say, you be a but honorable minority leader. Where you need your film. It's a woman who has the majority leadership. Yabaha, quickly, no. The majority leader, the Honorable Mama Yariga, he's here. And then Deputy Majority Leader, the Honorable Ricketts Kweku Hagan, is also here. Then the First Deputy Whip, Honorable Comfort Doyo, she's here. My second Deputy Whip, Richard Champon, unfortunately he's not available, so he couldn't be here. Myself, my name is Roxin Dapamako, Chief Whip. Thank you.
Patrol. Na yamati asese enhye bia ebenhye no yenyam muda yentimi kra enhye no kra ndabra mu na mudia na so ni na gina mampani so na abibi akanina na omen jeje mami kwa kama semo a telefone wo mu no condolence book no wa semo na musa ya sa na chiri na mo madi na dana to so what just telling him now what them
We're still bringing pictures from the residence of the late former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, where individuals, or notable individuals, and the general public have made their way here to commiserate with the bereaved family. Presently, musician Kujo Intri has made its way here in the presence of, or in the company of ace broadcaster KKD. We're expecting the former president John Agyeman-Rawlings to also make an appearance by way of performing same function. The national chairman for the governing National Democratic Congress, the party birthed by the late First Lady and a husband, also of blessed memory, Jerry John Rawlings, is now signing the book of condolence at their residence in Accra, where their 4 children and family members are stationed to receive guests who have thronged their premises to console them in such difficult times. Earlier we heard from leaders of both sides of Parliament, the minority side represented by Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin, and the majority side represented by Member of Parliament for Boku Central and Boku Central, Honorable Mahama Ayariga, and of course the leadership of the governing NDC are also here. If you're watching us live on Channel 1 TV, the big story is that former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings has passed away.
Former President John Agyeman-Rawlings has just arrived at residence